Hi, this is Jenna.
And this is Heather.
This is Conspiracies Unlocked. We are reading Britney Spears, The Woman in Me, and we are currently on chapter 27. So, all of a sudden she says in the winter, so 8 to 10 months later.
Yeah.
So winter of 2007.
Fast forward.
They said that she could have custody of the boys if she went back to rehab. So she went, and her dad sat across from her 3 picnic tables away and said, "You are a disgrace." And then she said, "I should have called Big Rob." Who is Big Rob?
Big Rob,
that was one of her security.
I believe Big Rob was a security guard, but I don't remember exactly.
But why would she want to call Big Rob during that? To go beat up her dad, or what?
Maybe to make her feel more secure, just to have...
Then she should explain that, because she doesn't explain it in the book at all.
She doesn't. But she also says that she felt that she had a rage and a grief problem, but not necessarily a substance abuse or alcohol problem.
Yeah. She's like, no, I'm fucking pissed. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm mad.
Yeah.
And you people are making me mad.
Yes.
So she ended up getting temporary 50-50 custody. But the battle did not end.
I just want to add here that custody is always temporary. It's always temporary. You can go back. Either party can go back at any time and try to get different changes.
Okay, so now she's getting... So she has 50-50 custody
It's
at
always
this point.
temporary until
because
they're 18.
Because nothing can be permanent, because you
It's
never
just
know what's going to happen.
It's always temporary.
So she got 50-50 custody, and the battle didn't end with Kevin Federline, obviously.
No.
She came out with Halloween. She came out with Blackout, which is the most proud of this record. Came out Halloween 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And she was asked to perform Give Me More at the VMAs, and her team pressured her to do it, to show the world that she is fine. But
do you remember that?
I do later. What?
Do you remember watching the performance?
I think no, I don't remember watching the performance, but I remember Sarah Silverman later.
Yeah.
So I know I saw it, but why?
Well, I'm just saying that everything that she says in the book about the performance is absolutely correct. No offense, I love Britney. It was the most horrible performance she's ever done.
Yeah.
And knowing now after reading the book that she was in the middle of a panic attack during the entire performance.
Yeah.
I can see why, because it definitely reflects that she was not in this state of mind to be doing any kind of performance.
No, and so they wanted to show that the world, Britney Spears is fine, when in fact she was not fine.
No.
She didn't, and she did, so she had already said, they had already decided to do it, but the night before, she didn't sleep the night before.
How could she sleep with everything going on?
She was dizzy and had costume and makeup problems the day of. She, and everybody wanted her back to Britney, like this tight-assed, six-pack 19-year-old girl. And it's like, dude, she just had 2 kids in, like, 2 years, like, within the last 2 years.
Well, she was pregnant for basically 3 years, right? Because even though she had 2, because the amount of time you're pregnant.
Yeah.
So it was, like, almost like...
Yeah. 2.5 years she was pregnant. They wanted her to have a 6-pack, and she did not. She saw Justin Timberlake backstage, and she said that he had swagger.
That was probably such a trigger for her to see Justin backstage, though.
And that triggered her panic attack.
Yeah.
She started to have a panic attack, and while she was performing, she felt like she was in a funhouse because she could see herself with all of the cameras and stuff, and she just felt like she was in a funhouse mirror, just like...
Well, you know what I thought about funhouse mirror? You know how the funhouse mirror, like, distorts your body and stuff?
Yeah.
And you know how she didn't feel like 100 because, obviously, she wasn't mentally 100 or physically 100?
Yeah.
And the amount that Britney put into her rehearsals and her everything.
She said she didn't even rehearse enough for this. No, anyways.
That's what I'm saying. For this one, she didn't.
Yeah.
She couldn't because she wasn't in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
But if you compare it to, like, how hard she would go on the other
Usually, yeah.
Like, it was such a contrast that when she looked at herself in the mirror, she probably felt like she was in, like she said funhouse, but I'd be like, Twilight Zone, like, everything is like, whoa, like, this is like the freaking Twilight Zone, like, what is going on?
So she had,
like, is this real life?
Yeah. So she had the worst performance, but Justin Timberlake had the best performance of his life. He was on stage with Nelly Furtado and Timbaland. And she said that he just was so fun, so free, so light, while she's just like, oh, down, down, down. And then, this is what I do.
Well, she had the awkward stripper pole. Like, why would
that was it, right?
Yeah. She had the black hair. She had, like, the little boy shorts or, like, little, like, cheeky bottoms with the
now
bra
I remember
top.
it, yeah.
And then she was, like, a stripper pole that she, like, barely kind of went around. If you're going to have a stripper pole, you better, like, work it.
Know how to do it,
Yeah.
but she couldn't.
She just barely kind of walked around
She would have if she had rehearsed enough like she usually does, but she didn't.
Yeah.
So then Sarah Silverman, which I want to say, I don't like Sarah Silverman. I never have. And she hosted the VMAs, I think, that year. And I was just, like, very, like, about the whole thing. But
she's not that funny.
No.
Even besides the Britney joke,
no.
She's just, in general, she's very crass and very, like, tacky. And I don't like it.
The only good thing that she's ever done in her life is that she played Vanellope on Wreck-It Ralph. She's the voice of Vanellope on Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, I didn't know she was on. I do like Wreck-It Ralph.
I know, okay. I do. It makes me sad, though, that she's the voice of it.
I didn't know that.
It makes me sad. So technically she's a Disney princess. I know. Because technically Vanellope is a princess of Candy Crush World.
I know, but that's not that's her?
Yeah, it's making you sick, huh?
Anyways,
so she roasted Britney at the VMAs, and she said at the age of 25 that she had already done everything worthwhile, has already been done in Britney's life. And then she says that her 2 kids are the most adorable mistakes you'll ever see.
That's a fucked up thing.
And it's like, who says that about somebody's kids?
You don't bring kids into things.
What are you doing?
Like I don't care if you're a celebrity.
And I remember that, like, very much so. That's one thing that I do remember.
Yeah, you don't bring people's kids into... Children are off limits. That's not okay. And especially they were babies.
They were little. And so, I mean, they're like...
That's what I mean. Very tacky. She's so tacky. It's embarrassing.
It really is. It's disgusting.
Very embarrassing.
So...
And then even Dr. Phil made fun of her.
Yes, well, obviously, I was going to say, obviously, the tabloids made fun of her body and performance, and then Dr. Phil said that she was a train wreck, which I'll let you know, I never liked Dr. Phil either. But not because of Britney, just in general, I thought he was, like, such a fake person.
I don't know.
Like, he's just a fake doctor. He's not even really a doctor.
I'm watched pretty sure. A little bit of Dr. Phil, but now that I think about it...
I feel like he's such a fucking imposter poser, like... He is.
What is he really a doctor of? Like a doctor of, like, he's psychology?
Maybe, but I don't think he really is. I don't think he has a
or is that just his name, like Dr. Phil?
Yeah,
for the
like
show?
Dr. fucking Seuss doesn't have a fucking doctorate. I think he's just Dr. Phil, like Dr. Drew.
Is Dr. Drew a doctor?
He's a real doctor.
Oh, okay.
But I think Dr. Phil is just like Dr. Seuss. Like, there ain't no doctorate.
I thought he was like a psychologist or something.
Yeah, but no,
like
I don't think he is.
Yeah,
I think he is a family counselor, but I don't think that he has a
how
doctorate.
did he get a show though?
I don't know.
I'm very interested. We should do a deep dive on Dr. Phil.
I'd rather not. Or unless we can tear him apart. Anyways, so she only did one press for the album Blackout, and it was a radio interview with Ryan Seacrest, and this is
in October of 2007.
So it was supposed to be about the album. That's what she's supposed to be doing. And talking about, Ryan Seacrest is supposed to be asking her about the album, what does she like about it, whatever they do on these press tours. And instead, all he's talking about is, do you feel like you're a bad mom? How often do you see the kids? What are you doing for the kids? All about motherhood. And it's like, why are you being so attacked and so just... Like, so she just didn't do anymore. She was, I'm good. Like, and I would too.
I feel like it was all he asked her about was personal questions. Nothing was pertaining to her upcoming album or just like what she's been doing to prepare for the album or things, whatever you would normally ask.
Are you going to go on tour for the album?
Yeah, or like what's your favorite song on the album or what inspired you to write this album or why is this album so important to you or who have you worked with on this album? What producers? Like there's so many questions that you could really ask. And all he's doing is asking her about her personal life. And I think like looking back, this was in 2007. Nowadays, I feel like people would just be sitting there staring at him like, I'm here to talk about my album.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because nowadays
then they would look over at their people and be like,
I can't do this.
And then you would hear the people off to the side, like, coaching them on, you know, like, you don't have to answer that or move along or whatever.
Yeah.
And then either the interview person
would be over, or
the interview would be over, or Ryan Seacrest would have to like switch it up real good and try to make it like okay, like on his end. Otherwise, he's gonna look like the ass.
Yeah.
And he's gonna look like, you know.
But back then
it wasn't like that.
Different ball game back then.
No, it was not like that.
So
at least not for Britney.
So yeah. So during this whole divorce with Kevin Federline, which Justin and Kevin Federline totally fucked her life over hard, like just used and abused. But anyways, they said that she said that her management team quit. Her bodyguard was a witness to the custody case, saying that she was doing drugs. But he wasn't even cross-examined, and it was with Gloria Allred was the attorney, which she's like...
For him, right?
For him.
And
for
that
Kevin.
was a very high-profile
Yes, back
attorney.
then it was like huge. But Britney had a court-appointed parenting coach testify that Britney had a major bond with the boys, and that there was nothing abusive in the home or with Britney. And she didn't, there's no reason why she can't have custody, and that the boys need to see their mom.
And that was, like, the mediator, right? Like, just the...
Yeah, the parenting coach,
yeah.
And, parenting coach. And, but that didn't make headlines. It was only the bad shit that would make headlines. Nothing good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really sad, because it seems like, the other side, like Kevin and her dad and whomever was trying to get the custody from Britney, they had a lot more pull than Britney.
Yeah.
And Britney was money maker, like
she was the one that's funding everybody. She's funding everybody. She's the mother. But the problem is that she's one person where they have a whole team of people behind them.
Yeah.
There's more of them. And ultimately, like, if you can get enough people on your side, it's just like war. Like, you have enough army on this side, and there's only one little army man over here. They're gonna destroy this one. So.
Yeah, and they were all
everybody
up against Britney.
Yeah.
So she was just kind of like on her
scared
own little island by herself,
with all these like guns pointed at her.
Yeah,
she's like a scared little chihuahua in the corner, backed in a corner with all these pit bulls going after her.
Chihuahuas are pretty fucking fierce, though.
When they want to be, but I don't know about against pit bulls, a pack of them.
No.
So, well, that's the end of chapter 26. Tune in next time.
26 or 27?
I don't know anymore.
20-something.
Tune in next time for the next chapter. I think it is 27 right now. So, tune in next time for the chapter 28.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.